Good? Okay. So we are in Perek Yud in Shmuel Aleph. Pasuk Zion. I'll start from Pasuk Vav. So Shmuel Navi is in the middle of giving a list of instructions and predictions to this tzaddik, this Anav, Shaul ben Kish, who he informed him privately that he was going to become the king of Klal Yisrael, and he gave him a list of different things that were going to happen in his travels, so that if everything happens exactly as was predicted by Shmuel Navi, Shaul would know that this is happening, this is real, and that he's going to be the king of Klal Yisrael. And the last one was that Shmuel had predicted that he's going to meet a group of Nevi'im, and that Shaul himself, and what we're about to read, you can sit there. Shaul himself, V'tzolcha alecha ruach Hashem, the spirit of Hashem will will dwell on upon you. V'hisnabisa imam, and you will have nevuah with them. You'll have nevuah with this chevel nevi'im, this group of nevi'im. V'nehepachta leish acher, and you will be transformed into a different person. Did we read that pasuk? We read that pasuk last time. Okay, so here's where we're up to. Okay, very, very interesting few pasukim. I don't know, I haven't come up to a boring pasuk yet, but V'haya ki savayna ha'oisais ha'elelach, pasuk Zayin, Shmuel Aleph Perek Yud pasuk Zayin, and it will be when these signs happen to you, when they come to you. So you're gonna be sitting there at your destination, and you're gonna be realizing that every detail, and if you remember through the psukim, there were tons of details, that every detail happened exactly the way it was laid out. So then you're gonna know that you have to get to work. Asay lecha asher timtza yodecha, do for you what you're able to do. Kiho Elokim imach, because Hashem is with you. This is an amazing thing. Rashi says that means that Hashem was telling Shaul through the Navi that when all these oisais actually occur, that you should start putting together your royal court. Start figuring out how you're going to act like a king. Askin lecha, prepare for yourself. Mani malchusa, kalim, clothing of malchus, which is so fascinating. You think the king himself is probably not the one that does that, but it's fascinating that Shaul was told, prepare bigdei malchus for yourself. And Rashi goes on to say, v'hachein lecha tachsisei hamalucha. I don't think that just means physically. I think it means like when a new president is elected, so they spend a few weeks or months putting their cabinet together, figuring out their policies and priorities. How are things going to run in the Beis HaMalchus? And that's what the Tachsisei HaMelech is like, the running of the Malchus. That's amazing. I was nespal when I learned this pasuk. Most people would be like waiting for that minute that they can start putting their, it's always interesting to me when you have two presidential candidates, both of them are putting a White House together, but only one of them moves into the White House. But they're both very excited. They get ahead of themselves, They're both very excited. Everyone's excited to do that, It's like we spend the money that we're going to win in the lottery, like that kind of thing. But the fact of the matter is that Shaul HaMelech, as we know, was an unbelievable anav. And to him, this was more a gzeira than an opportunity. And that's really the kind of leadership that we want. Isn't that the kind of leaders we want? We don't want leaders that were waiting all their lives to be in charge of other people. We want leaders that consider it a huge responsibility, a kavod for themselves, that they don't feel like they deserve. And that's the melech. That's the melech that we want. And that's what we had in our first melech. Shaul HaMelech, if anything, we're going to find through the stories of Shaul that his greatest fault was his own anava. He was too humble. He was never accused of gaiva. If anything, he was accused of being too humble. V'yoradeta lefanai hagilgal. You will go down before me to Gilgal. Gilgal is where Klal Yisrael first landed when they came across the Yarden. You're going to go down before me to Gilgal. V'hinei anochi yored eilecha. And I will come after you. I will follow. Leha'alois oilos, to be able to bring carbon oilos. Lizbayach zivchei shlamim, and to shecht carbon shlamims. Now, if you read this pasuk without knowing everything that happened before and after, you're not going to read the pasuk accurately. Okay? Let's read the whole pasuk, but then I'll give you a little information about what happens in the rest of the parak, and you'll see what's going on here. Because then it goes on to say, Shivas yomim toichel. For 7 days you should wait, ad boi'i eilecha, until I come to you, v'haidati lecha, and I will let you know, eis asher ta'aseh, what you should do. Now, the pashtus is that this is talking about, this whole pasuk is talking about one incident. Go down to Gilgal, I will come after you, and we will bring karbanos together. Wait for me for 7 days until I get there, and I'll tell you what to do. But if you think about the pasuk a little bit, it is a little repetitive in the way that it says it. Go down to Gilgal, I'll come, we'll bring karbanos, wait for me for 7 days. You just went backwards. Right? Even us people that we're not so like being so mesudar, we don't tell stories that way. So the Mefarshim explain, and if you see the Pesukim later, it's pashut like that there are two incidents here. Shaul went down to Gilgal, Shmuel followed. There was a massive event that took place that we're going to learn about, where they publicly accepted Shaul as king. And then the Plishtim attacked. And Shaul had to wait by Gilgal for Shmuel to come. It was a second tzivui, to wait for a second time for Shmuel to come. And that's when he had that mitzvah to wait 7 days. And he was told about it now because the continuity of his malchus depended on him waiting a full 7 days. Did he wait a full 7 days? He did not. He waited until the beginning of the 7th day, and he couldn't wait anymore. And it's something, we're not going to get into it now, it's something that we're going to have to study, like what went wrong there. There's what to learn from it. But anyhow, that's what was going on here, and I'll tell you what to do. And finally, V'haya kehafnoisoi shichmai loleches. I'm sorry for reading it slowly. Each word here is just like, you ever drink something and it's so full of flavor that you're like, I cannot drink this quickly? That's how I feel about this pasuk. V'haya, and it will be kehafnoisoi. What does that mean? When he turned. So Shmuel and Shaul are talking. Shmuel is making all these predictions. Shaul is listening. And he tells Shaul, when all of this comes true, I want you to start setting up your malchus. And it was. When Shaul turned to leave, Hafnoisai Shichmai, he turned his shoulder, Loleches me'im Shmuel, to go away from Shmuel, Vayahafeich loy Elokim leiv acher. And as he's turning away from Shmuel, Hashem is transforming his heart into a whole different kind of heart. And then in the pasuk ends off, Vayavoyu kol ha'osos ha'ela bayoymahu. On that day, all of the osos happened. As Shaul traveled throughout the day, this took place in the morning. As he traveled throughout the day, everything happened exactly as Shmuel said. There's two very important points here, and if you hear me out, you'll see why I'm getting goosebumps reading this pasuk. First of all, this transformation of his heart. You realize we're watching something happen. There are moments in a person's life where their entire reality changes and they become something else. Not unrecognizable, but it's like they take on a new kind of achrayus. And people have moments like that. Those are very important moments in your life. Maybe standing under the chuppah is such a moment. if you stand under the chuppah properly, meaning that you recognize there's a woman here who has decided to trust me and to put the goyrel of her life in with me. She's banking on me. She's counting on me. And that sense of achrayus. Or perhaps it'll be the moment in Eretz Hashem that you'll all, the Ezer Hashem experience of hope, some maybe have experienced already, of holding a new baby in your hand. Is that a vayehafech leiv acher moment where suddenly you're like, if you're a thinking person, like, I'm a parent. This tiny little human being, I'm his everything. I'm his father. It's a moment of like, you know what the moment is? It's not just me anymore. It's bigger than me. You know, like when you take responsibility for something, it's bigger. I felt it very strongly, not necessarily always in a pleasant way, but during COVID. You know, it's easy to look back at COVID and very confidently, but back in the beginning, we didn't know what people were dropping, like, you know, in China like crazy. Around here in Queens, there was terrible stories going on. And I was up in Waterbury, and I felt this achrayus that, like, people's lives were in my hands. Am I going to close my shul, open my shul? What am I going to tell people to do? How am I going to tell people to act? How am I going to help people? It was like a certain moment of, it's not about me anymore. But on a much greater level, the Rambam writes about the Melech Yisrael that Liboy Levav Kol Yisrael, the heart of the Melech encompasses every single Jew. And if you remember the story here, part of Shaul's process is that he met all kinds of Jews. He met people that were interested in growth, and he met people that were uninterested in growth. And the reason that he had to meet every single kind of Jew is because he had to know that a true leader doesn't ignore any type of person. Rabbi Kirschenbaum came over to me today while I was in the middle of my meetings in my office today. He came in and we were schmoozing on some of the great Torah. He said to me, Echad Tam, ve'echad Rasha, ve'echad, Echad Chacham, ve'echad Rasha, ve'echad Tam, ve'echad she'eni yedei Elisha. He said, it shouldn't say that. It should say, Echad Chacham, ve'sheni Rasha, ve'shlishi Tam, ve'revi she'eni yedei Elisha. It's not 1, 1, 1, 1. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. He says, no, each one is Echad. Each one is the only one. You have a Rasha, you mechanech the Rasha. You have a Tam, you mechanech the Tam. Right? It's Echad, each one. That's the way a Melech has to look at every single Yid in Klal Yisrael. You know, like I tell Rabbeim and Rabbanim that a therapist has the luxury of being able to give up on someone. But a Rav, or a Rebbe, or a parent, never has that luxury. There's no such a thing. Those words can't come out of your mouth, ever. There's no such a thing. And if they do come out of your mouth, it will echo in that child's mind for the rest of his life. He will never forget it. There's a guy that I know who struggles parnassa-wise. He has a hard time getting a job. And one of the things that he confided to me is that he has a very, very, very low self-esteem. And more than once, he told me the story of how he was asked to leave his yeshiva. And he told it to me with tears in his eyes. He's a married guy with kids. But that moment of being told to leave his yeshiva, he will never recover from that moment. I shouldn't say he'll never recover. I'm not going to give up on it now. But hopefully he will recover. But he will never forget it. Never, ever forget it. So that's part of the Vayafech Loi Elokim Leiv Acher. HaKadosh Baruch Hu transformed his heart into the heart of a leader. And here's the nekuda that I want to bring out to you that's very, very important. That process of his heart transforming didn't happen over the day. When did it happen? Ke hafnoisoi shichmoi loleches. It happened when he turned his shoulder to go. Why does it say his shoulder? When you turn, your whole body turns. You don't turn your shoulders. What does it mean he turned his shoulder to go? So it's pashut that the shoulders where you carry the yoke, you carry responsibility on your shoulders, right? What someone who has a lot of achrayas, we say, someone that has a lot of the ability to carry achrayas, we say he has big shoulders. In Yiddish, we say he has große places. He has big shoulders. What's the big shoulders? What does that mean? Because the shoulders, that's like where you carry something. What did he turn to go? He turned his shoulder to go. You know what that means? That means that Shaul had a moment then when he was walking away from Shmuel that he first of all turned. He turned. It's not pashut to turn. He turned. He stepped away from life as he knew it until then. Life that he could focus on himself. Life that he's a private individual. Life that he could say it's about me. And he turned away from that. And what did he turn with? He turned with his shoulders. He turned to be mekabel achrayas. And you know what happened? He didn't have to wait for everything to play out. The moment that Shaul turned to be mekabel achrayas, everything shifted inside of him. And this is a very, very, very important thing. I have here the Sefer Alei Shur. Sefer Alei Shur, the Chelik Rishon. Any of you ever learned it? You learned it? Anybody else? Okay, you probably want to learn this Sefer. At least parts of it. There's some parts that are difficult, but for sure the first shar you want to learn for sure. Okay? And the Sefer Alei Shur is a Sefer that was written by Rav Shlomo Volba, the author of the Mitzvahs Hashkulas, by the way. And he describes step by step the derech of how a Ben Torah could become a Talmud Chacham. Talmud Chacham meaning more than just having Torah knowledge, but becoming what it means, a Talmud Chacham, with the midas of a Talmud Chacham, and the personality, and the full spectrum of the greatness of what it means to be a Talmud Chacham. And this Sefer is a very, very, very precious Sefer, but in the first parak of the Sefer, the very first parak, in the very, very first shar, he talks about, the parak is called Limud Gemara. Okay? And it makes sense because the Bria Chatichain of growing as a Talmud Chacham is learning Gemara. Okay? No matter what other things we'll do, but that will always be the Bria Chatichain of being a Talmud Chacham, the foundation. And he writes a very, very interesting Yesod. If we would listen to this Yesod, it would be a life-changing thing. I am about to reveal to you one of the main reasons that guys in yeshiva are not successful. Okay? This is a secret that I wish wasn't such a big secret. Okay? The reason that people are not successful is because when they learn, they were told that it's geschmack to learn, and they want to learn because they enjoy learning. And that is a disaster. The reason that it's a disaster is because enjoyment of learning is first of all a skill that you learn, like all the good things in life. You know, like that scotch that you like, you didn't like the first time you tasted it either, you know? You remember when you took a sip of beer as a kid and you're like, I cannot believe that people, of course you told everyone you loved it, but you can't believe that people drink this stuff. Sometimes good things, it takes a certain maturity to learn to appreciate. But it's more than that. Anything could change a feeling. Anything. Today happens to be, I had a very difficult night last night, I wasn't feeling well. I'm very, very tired today. It has affected the whole day. Everything is different because I'm tired today. There are things that I mamish enjoy, and I didn't enjoy them so much today. Because you're tired. You've been there. You're tired. You don't enjoy it so much. You could be hungry and not enjoy it so much. Someone could say something hurtful to you. It could ruin your mood for the day. You can't build the core of your life on I'm gonna love it. In fact, it will make you not love it. So what do you build the core of your life on? The core of your life is built on I accept the responsibility of it. This is important, and I'm going to do this. In fact, one of the most stressful things in learning is, do I like it? Do I like it? Do I like it? Am I enjoying it? Am I enjoying it? I don't think I'm. Oh no, I don't think I'm enjoying it. What's wrong? What am I doing wrong? Calm down. Stop thinking so much about whether or not you love it, and just when it's time to learn. You know what you're going to find over time? The joy and the enjoyment is going to seep in, and you're not noticing it, because that's what enjoyment happens. Imagine you and I are sitting together, and I'm saying, do you like music? Hey, it's Shiur now, we can't listen to music, but do you like music? Yeah, I like music. I have a feeling you might like music, okay? Yeah, I like music. Okay, let's listen to music. Turn it on. So, are you enjoying? Are you enjoying? Do you like it? Do you like it? You'd be like, could you stop talking about enjoying the music so I can enjoy the music? We take our temperature so much. You ever see someone has a bump on them or something? So they keep touching it and touching it and touching it. Like, is there something wrong with me? Is there something there? Is there something? By the time they're done, there's a black and blue mark. Of course there is. They keep beating themselves up. You're feeling too much. Listen to these words. He says, Tzira Yisrael shezachu lilmay Torah, young Talmidim that was zeicha to learn Torah, ein lahem lehashtis es limudam. They cannot make as the foundation of their learning al cheshkam b'Torah, about their desire to learn. Stop thinking about your desire to learn so much. It's not a tzedkas. Stop thinking about it. Ella al hechrech haTorah. I need Torah to live. I need to learn Torah. It's a necessity. I absolutely need to learn Torah. Could you imagine if we only ate or drank or breathed when we were in the mood? You can't live that way. Life is something that you do. It's not really connected to what your emotional state is. You just do it because you want to be alive. And that's how I look at the Torah. You might think that's a dry thing to say. I'm telling you, there's nothing that leads to more joy in learning than just the sense of, I need this is important, and I'm going to do it. Yeah, but do you enjoy it? I'm not talking about that. Then you'll start enjoying it. And he says here, MSH. Okay, it's too late for that paragraph, because we have to that marav in a minute. Ulam, hacheshek ba im halimud. But if you want, 1 second, I'm not going to enjoy my learning? No. Desire will come with learning. Ve'ata, now you're going to see Shaul HaMelech. Ve'ata im shamaya tishma'u bekoili. Ushmartem es brisi. Ve'isam le'sigula mikolo amit. Ve'ata, and now, Hashem says, if you listen to my voice and do my mitzvahs and so on, you'll be my treasured nation. What's and now? Says Rashi. Im ata tekablu aleichem. If you'll accept it upon yourself now, Yerav lochem, it will become sweet to you, like the harav no Hashem Elokeinu. It will become sweet to you, mikanu lahaba. And that's what Shaul HaMelech did. He turned his shoulder to take on the responsibility, and he had a major transformation on the spot of becoming a person that can deal with that measure of responsibility. And we'll see Be'ezer Hashem next time. We'll discuss the unbelievable experience that Shaul had in actually becoming not just the Melech, not just being the Onav that he was in the Talmud Chacham, but for a short time becoming one of the Nevi'im. It's Hashem.
That's crazy. She calls all the yeshivas. Crazy, right?